Hello everyone and welcome to ProWoke. If we can introduce everyone on the panel please. Starting from...
Hi, I'm Rashida.
Hi, I'm Dami.
Hi, I'm Paula.
Hi. Oh.
Hi.
My name is Abdul.
My name's Pierce.
My name's Fidel.
Hi, Dave.
Kira.
And the topic of discussion today is religion in the black community productive or destructive?
Okay.
Anybody want to start? You start.
Look, I think it's a singular issue, but it's particular people that abuse it. Like, I don't know. It's more so for me, the older generation. They're the stuff that comes out when people are getting close to dying. That you did what? They covered it up with who? They hide a lot of stuff. They don't. The older generation, they're not really they're not real. Like they give a face of holiness, but then they don't give you the chance to experience. Oh, but I actually struggled with so and so. They just think, they never show that side in it, and because people don't show that side, you can't relate to the person. But I don't think it destroys. I just think it's how you view it, personally.
So you're basically saying it's not relatable?
It's relatable the more you bring it into real life and not just make it all spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
To me, anyway.
I think the majority of people that I've met, the majority of good people that I've met are non-religious. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think there's bare people that go to church, but they're just living like double lives, or like, you know what I mean? That's what I think. I don't know.
I think that kind of falls into what Kira was saying, that I think there's, in Christianity anyway, there's a difference between religion and relationship. Mm-hmm. So if you truly have a heart for God and you try and follow the teachings for yourself so that you can become a better person, then those people end up being good people. Like, even if we were to take away from Christianity, say Gandhi, for example, he loved people. Or like Martin Luther King, he loved people. You know what I mean? So if you try and embody those principles, then you can end up being a bit of a light to the world. Mm-hmm. But where it becomes a bit of an issue is where you segment that away from it and you take bits and pieces that you like and then use it as a defense mechanism, or you try and mold it into a way that it fits your own narrative. And it's those people who are seen to be religious are the ones that kind of let down religion in that sense, because you're blocking people from actually seeing what the truth is and you're just using it as a bit of a weapon. So that's probably the reason why you feel that way, but it's not meant to be like that, in my opinion.
I definitely agree. And to add on, I feel like religion in general is a personal experience, so no one can tell you how you're feeling or how to interpret something, if you get what I mean. So that may be, even though the outsiders would view that as like them being like totally like extremists or doing something that's wrong against their religion, they may be like, that's my truth. So it's kind of hard to tell someone if that's what they're seeing and that's what they're feeling, if you get what I mean.
Is that not more the relationship though than actual religion?
I think it's both, because it's that person taking it out of context. So I think being in a religion, you disagree, right?
He's looking at me.
Can I jump in?
Yeah, go on.
No. But I think that in terms of a religion, it's not just about the religious part, it's about the relationship. So I'm Christian, so it's kind of like, as well as believing the Bible, reading the Bible, it's about having that personal relationship with God, with other people as well. Whereas people who are just extremely religious and not taking into consideration that other part, I think that's where it kind of breaks apart and loses what it's meant to be. You can go.
Cool. So, honestly, I think religion is divisive by nature. It splits people. It's me against you, you're Muslim, so I don't like you, I'm Christian, so I don't like you, da 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 da. And what makes it worse is that human beings are just pricks by nature as well. So it's like giving a psychopath a flamethrower, in the sense that you've given human beings who are not good people by nature, you're giving them a reason to say, okay, now I'm going to do this and I have something backing me up. That's what religion is to me. So for instance, if I'm Muslim, I'm gonna slap you in your face and say my religion says I should do that. That's wrong. Now, in the case of Christianity, I'm not saying that's what Muslims are about, but in the case of Christianity is not it shouldn't be a religion, because the term Christianity itself means Christ-like, and it's more of it's a lifestyle choice. It's like being a vegan. Do you get what I mean? It's a lifestyle. No, but seriously, because being a vegan, you choose to live a certain way and you choose to do certain things. Whereas with religion, it's like you have to do this, you have to do this. It's very
systematic.
It's very systematic and it's very rigid. And then you give yourself some sort of purpose and you use that as a weapon. And that's why a lot of the things that happen is down to religion. For instance, the Crusades back in who knows what when was people practicing Christianity as a religion, and they went around killing God knows how many people due to their religion. And then go on.
That had nothing to do with religion. Religion was just used as an excuse.
That's what I'm saying. That's my point. That's my point. Religion was the cause of the divisiveness. Number one, and then they went to go and do their evil acts.
I still wouldn't say it was the cause.
No, but it wasn't the cause, but it was used as justification.
Religion was weaponized.
Yeah, exactly.
To change people's opinions.
That doesn't say religion is divisive by nature, simply because it separates people. Do you get what I mean? Whereas if you live a lifestyle, I'm going to live this life, that doesn't mean you should live it. I'm not going to go about like doing nonsense to you because you're not living the same kind of lifestyle as me.
Yeah, but undertake that more time the way that people move with their religion is based on how they were introduced into that religion themselves.
Yeah, but that's religion by nature does that.
Yeah, but likewise,
every religion,
lifestyle aspects, yeah? Let's say someone takes out the religious aspect, someone introduces someone to Christianity as a lifestyle.
Yeah.
However way they are as a Christian,
yeah,
and however way they teach that person, introducing them into Christianity, that's how that person's going to be when they're living that Christian.
Not necessarily though, because people come into one of the wonderful things about human beings is that we have agency and we can decide to interpret things how we want, largely as a result of the environments we're in, how we've been socialised. But the reality is a lot of people come into a certain religion in a certain way, and as they grow, as things develop, as they begin to interrogate things for themselves, the notions of that change. So there are a lot of people that may have entered Islam, for example, in a very peaceful manner, but as a result of being in certain environments, being in certain spaces, that changes into something different. So I don't think it's fair to say that just because someone enters into a religion in a certain way, they're going to stay that way, because human beings aren't like that. We change, we develop, we evolve, and we critique things. And I think my thing in regards to religion is that I agree what you're saying about how it can be like divisive by nature. I'm this way, but I think labels are kind of divisive by nature, and that's what religion kind of formalizes, right? It formalizes those labels, and I think that's what can be divisive. But for me, in terms of like back to what some of these guys were saying about like a relationship with God, I think it's about people and their heart for righteousness and their heart for goodness and for love. And I do not think that people need religion to do that. And I do think that what religion has done, and religion isn't the only thing that's done this to, if we're bringing it back to the black community, but religion has formalised or attempted to formalise some of the barriers that exist for us in terms of hierarchies, and that religion has been used to do that. And I think it's important that we don't dismiss that, and which is why I think it's important that black people in particular are critical of some of the things that we've been introduced to, including religion. That doesn't mean that you still can't love that and you still can't admire that, but I think it's important to reflect on why are so many of us Christians or Muslim or whatever, how did these practices get into where we're from, like
it's
how
practical methodology,
right? And so is that problematic? And if so, then we should be able to ask those questions.
Okay, let me quickly interrupt you. And a point in when you said that it's broken down some barriers, yeah. But when you look at the black community, and this is largely one of the reasons why I picked this topic. Say for instance, in fact there was a guy on a show and he was talking about when he went to Ghana and he looked around and he said he just saw poverty. Well, he said everybody was smiling. And the person he was with that was living in Ghana, he asked him, why is everybody smiling? He said, religion. So in one part he was like, wow, like it shows a lot of hope. But in the same time, it could trap you in a sense, in a sense that people are grabbing onto hope rather than actually being practical and trying to build something for themselves, particularly in a black community. But I can imagine that we all agree that, generally speaking, people that are worse off economically or socially economically tend to be the ones that are more likely to be religious
Yeah.
or seem to be more religious.
Yeah.
And for me, that's one of the biggest problems I have with it, and it's especially within the black community. Let's say we all live in London. A lot of us started, let's talk about council flat, going to a crap school, no money, and I can almost guarantee every single one of us has been to church or mosque and was probably dragged there up until about the age 12, 15, 16, however old it is. And is that what is holding us back? Let me rephrase that. Part of what is holding us back. Go on, continue.
In person, yeah, okay. So in I can't speak for mosques. I genuinely don't know.
Okay, because
that's why I'm gonna let you speak about mosques. I don't really speak about what I'm experiencing in black churches.
Yeah.
The politics are madness, and the hierarchical system is a madness. It's one of those ones where if you don't know certain people, you can't do. You're not in certain crowds. You can't even do certain things in the church, let alone outside of the church. I feel like people are pressured to live a certain way, and I feel like the reason that has come about is because there's been people who haven't been totally honest with their beliefs, in the sense of, like, I would have more respect for a Muslim or a Christian that was like, look, I try to be Christ-like, but this is what I struggle with. Because then we have something to relate. But it's there's people that go around like, I'm holy, posting Bible scriptures every week, or always on Facebook, just nothing but God, nothing but God. But you can't relate to them, because it's like, okay, so what do you struggle with? And you're just holy, and then that's what happens when people become, they set themselves on that pedestal, and then you hear something about them on the news, and it's like, oh my God, because they didn't portray themselves as someone that could make a mistake. And I feel like that has led a lot of black people to be boxed. I think there's a mentality when you go to church, it's all about God, and because I feel sorry for people that go to church and then they don't actually go home and read a book. Because even the Bible says faith without knowledge is nothing. You have to, faith without work is dead. You actually have to go out and do and become something. And it's one of those ones where you can't even influence cities and businesses if you ain't involved in that world anyway. So how can you even spread your message if you can't even get there? It's a madness. And then people just get boxed in church like this. Oh, I can't. People are scared to even have sex. And I mean this, they wait all their lives to get married as Christians, and then they get to the point to have sex and they're scared because they're like, oh, that was told me. And you don't see that lady that beat up her husband. To beat up her husband on the honeymoon because she was like, oh my God, what's that? What's that, you know? What's that thing from in the middle of your leg? Church boxes people sometimes. I'll just be honest.
I think the issue is that black people get very, very dependent, in the sense that, no, not black people, a lot of Christians, especially Christians, you get taught like, God will provide for you.
That's what parents.
Give offering, and you'll be there. And wait. I have no problem with offerings. That's that. I have no problem with offerings, because at the end there's not an obligation. If you want to give it, you give it. It's how it's used. I have a problem with. That's one thing. However, they're like, you're hungry, you don't even have Cocoa Pops in your house, yeah? You have £5 in your pocket, and you give that £5 out, yeah? And you sit at home, just wait, God will provide. God will provide. Faith without action is nonsense, as far as I'm concerned. If you're going to church, yeah, when you leave church, work. If you don't work, you won't eat. And I feel like a lot of the time, like you said, religion kind of like, you become almost like a fiend for it. It's like, you're waiting on something that's not going to happen. You're waiting on something instead of you going out to go and do it yourself. And I can't. If you're in a position where you can do something and you choose not to do something because you're depending on some sort of miracle while you're sitting at home, as far as I'm concerned, you're silly. You're stupid.
If I could, so much I want to discuss, but I want to keep this real nice and short. One thing that I'll say what alarmed me about what you said is that. I see that those at the bottom rung of society, the poorer ones, are the ones who tend to be more more religious, and those who are at the top tend not to be. And even though in our lives, I can kind of see where you're coming from. It's not something that I inherently agree with or feel comfortable, because there's nothing wrong with faith. Let me just put that out there for the one and two. It's like let's just put that here because faith is important. Faith can get people through some quite dark situations, and we've all seen people sitting around a table, or we have family that we all know if it wasn't through faith, we some people might not be here. You know what I mean? So that's not bad to do that. And also, I don't really think there's anything wrong with giving, even if it's from a selfish perspective. If I give, then I know that I will get something back from that through faith. We also need to look at that, right? Yeah. Then there's also the fact that, jeez, my points will mix up. So
you got a bit of passion out
okay, but no, I don't think we can do. I feel like God can provide, but again, as you said and you've said, faith without works is dead.
Yes.
So we kind of have to remember that. I'll think about it. But I don't know, man.
I'm going to touch on each bit that each of you have said. Yeah, it might be a bit longer as well, and I might just end up like you forget. But I'm going to start where I can. Starting from what you said. When the whole slavery and everything, began and all that stuff there, yeah. I believe that we can all agree here and say that religion was used beautifully as an effective tool to control and enslave a lot of the black community, or just Africa in general. Now, obviously, we're not considering like the religion and stuff that was based in Africa beforehand. We'll let's not complicate it too much, but with the introduction of religion with slavery, it was used as a tool of either you accept this religion that we're introducing to you, that it's going to give you a better outcome. Like, you need to understand the psychology that was used. It wasn't just, my religion is good, my God is good, and all that stuff there. What you need to understand is that people who, to a biased degree, were more intellectually acute to manipulate people. And by people, I mean the Africans, do you know what I'm saying? Because we knew what we knew. We don't know about all these people coming onto our land and all that stuff there. So when they're introducing all that stuff there and they're using all that tactical stuff, all the war mentality basically, to enslave all of us to toe in line, when we're going through our struggles and all that stuff there, that's where I'm going to touch on and talk about faith. That's where it came in. Faith is different to religion.
Yeah.
Understand, and that's why you use a different word. You didn't say religion is good. You said faith is good. Two different words. Yeah. That faith is what held black people, Africans, the slaves, all throughout their turmoil for the whole period of time, because they've been introduced into something that they've been taught. When you go through a struggle, there's a reward at the end. Understand that.
From who though, sorry? Who have they been taught that from? Are you saying they've been taught that from the Europeans?
Let's split it into two now.
Okay.
As of now, us lot here, if you're taking on board religion and all that stuff there, more time, somewhere, somehow you're told that if you're going through a struggle and all that stuff, if you have your faith, you're going to be rewarded. Yeah? So now undertake that into the minds of Africans and slaves who've basically been taught with the introduction of this religion that if you're going through a struggle, if you've got that faith, you're going to be rewarded. More time, that's going to make them say, cool, let's be calm and obedient and take what we've got go right now.
No, can I just interject?
Yeah, go on.
In terms of slavery, Christianity wasn't taught about faith. It was taught about you obey your masters, or else God will punish you, and your master should have right to punish you.
Okay.
So that in that sense, the religion, that's what I'm talking about. Again, religion was weaponized because Africans were ignorant. They didn't understand that.
Ignorant to what?
I wouldn't say ignorant. That's the thing. There's a difference.
I was with you.
Can I carry on?
Yeah, okay. I'm supposed to be there. Carry on.
Continue.
Cool. So they were ignorant in the sense of they didn't. First of all, there was a language barrier. Yeah. Secondly, they didn't understand. So if there's a language barrier and you can't read, you can only like consume what has been given to you. And then their slave owners, their slave owners were the only people that was actually reading the Bible and interpreting the Bible for them. So if it's a case where your slave owner is saying that our God, because at this point here you've already accepted their God by force, by fight on it. If your slave master said, our God said, you should obey me, or else I have every right to punish you or kill you, you're going to obey. So in that sense, yeah, religion was weaponized and used as some sort of control mechanism. So I don't understand.
No, but the reason where